My favorite one is when they're like, update the game, or like, what was the other one? Update the game, or update the Sony operating system. Like, you know what I mean? Like software update. And they're like, oh, you got to do all of this, and then you're like, no, I don't. Like, stop telling me some bullshit, and how about you just let me play my goddamn game, and stop crashing. Well, let's... Super thorough, and yep. Yep. Yeah, I don't even freaking care anymore. Screw this crap. Don't lie to me saying that that's gonna work. Alright, so let's get a fairy walnut on this dude. Get this chick to throw out a heal really quick.
Healing power of Envy! Cure water! Face!
And then it's Sylphid. So let's just set up my guys right now and be done with it. Really, dude? Like, he's in the middle of casting. How did you pick him up? That doesn't make any sense. Wow, I beat the pants off of that boss. And he was wearing pants too, because it was a Monota. Stupid, I'm stupid.
Gotta synchronize with the seed.
Gotta synchronize with the seed. That's what hippies say. Gotta synchronize with the seed before you eat it. What? The hell did you just say to me? So I just texted my wife, "Good night, honey," but my phone autocorrected to "Good night," N-I-T-E, hinge, like a door hinge. I was like, what? I corrected it, and she's like, "Hinge," and I'm like, "I think I found my new pet name for you." I'd be like, "Hey, Hinge." People are gonna be like, well, like my pet name for her was Charlie for a really long time. And I haven't called her Charlie. because I don't know if you've ever seen the video for the unicorns, like Charlie the Unicorn. Like, we're on a bridge, Charlie. We're on a bridge, and shit like that. Just, if you've never seen it, it's worth at least one watch. Just one. Maybe not more. I think it's utterly hilarious for some reason. Like, but I can see why nobody else does, right? So, watch it so you know what I'm talking about, but don't expect anything from it. Like, at all. But I think it's hilarious. But I'm also a fucking psychopath, so I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, so there's a point in that video that there are two unicorns that are quote-unquote young unicorns, and then there's Charlie the Unicorn, who's kind of like the main character, right? And these two unicorns are like lunatics. Like, complete lunatics. And so there's a point in this little, basically the first few videos are basically like Dora the Explorer style crap, to where like they go from point A to point B, and during the process they come across like a Leopleurodon and stuff like that, right? And so it's stupid. It's so stupid. Anyway, so I don't know why I like it as much as I do, man. I really don't. It's stupid because of the voices. Like, I laugh because of the voices, I think. I don't know, I laugh because I'm childish and I think it's great, right? So it doesn't even matter why I laugh. But anyway, so there's a part that they're like, gotta be sneaky, Charlie. Sneaky. Sneaky, Charlie. And then that's it. Like, Katie did something in the past that triggered that memory, or that triggered that video coming in, and I used to call her Sneaky Charlie all the time, and then it just shortened it to Charlie. So I called her Charlie all the time. For real. Oh man. Chuck Hinge. Charlie Hinge. Oh, I just got my final paycheck today, or just now. That's really weird, that's really early. It is only Thursday, right? Say that one more time, I'm sorry. No, I mean, he was sad. Like, but I'm sure it's kind of like mixed feelings, because honestly, I had checked out for the past few months. And so, like, I was there and I would put in the work and I would do well while I was working. But, like, my numbers were shit. Like, I was getting a lot of repeats. I was getting a lot of 48-hour callbacks, because people, like, what I used to do is give everybody my phone number, and then I'm like, if you need anything, call me, and I can try to help you. But I stopped giving people my phone number because I got tired of coming home and people calling me all hours of the day, every day of the week. Yeah, and no, people here are too stupid to do that. Like, they really are. Like, most of them are too stupid. Some of them are fantastic. Like, there is no in-between. There's no, like, man, that guy's kind of crappy, but he's okay. You know what I mean? There's no middle ground here. It's like, you're amazing or you're crap. One of the two. And so there's no, like, man, they have a few drawbacks, but they're a pretty cool person. Like, as long as you understand this, they're great. Or something like that. There's none of that. It's all like, yeah, other than, like, you're polite when you talk or something like that. And that's a redeeming quality, but it's not good enough. But, like, so, because it's the land of manana, right? And I'm sure, I could only hope that you know what manana means, right? So, it's the land of manana here, and the city's motto is a city different, quote unquote, a city different, right? Instead of a different city, because, you know, that would be grammatically correct. They are a city different, which works as well in a different form of grammar when there's context. And so, I don't know. Anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there. So, because this is Landa Manana, everybody, like, nobody knows what professionalism is. Like, if you're from New Mexico, you more than likely don't know what professionalism is. You don't know that working business hours, bankers' hours, typical bankers' hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., right? Or 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. if you're a real banker, or 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. if you're a real banker. Anyway, so but typical professional tradesman business hours, 8 to 5, with a 1 hour lunch in the middle. That's your typical process, right? Worldwide, pretty much everybody agrees on that. And so, but here, they don't acknowledge that. So I'll tell people, I used to tell people, my customers all the time, here's my phone, here's my number, give me a ring. If you don't get me, please leave me a voicemail. I can tell you right now that I probably will not answer if I'm already off the clock, because I don't get paid to answer. And I would be on the phone with you for an hour trying to fix your stuff over the phone for you. And I'm not getting paid for that. So I'm not going to do that. And so, like, and I tell people, like, look, if it's an emergency, call me. I might be able to help you to get everything up and running for you, but don't expect a lot. Like, I can do my best, but that's it. And so I would tell people, please don't call me outside of business hours, because A, I might not answer, and B, like, I don't get paid. And I used to answer all the time, and then I started getting calls at frickin' 4 and 3 and 2 in the morning. Yeah, and dude, I'm not even kidding you, like, all the time. At least once every night, I would get a call like that, right? For months straight. Like, there was an entire year that I would just put my phone on mute, wake up the next morning, and there was a call, right? I have no idea, but it pisses me off, because I would tell people, if you have problems late at night, give it a little bit of time. Give it like 30 minutes, and then come back to it. And they're like, okay, well, why? And I'm like, because that's when we roll our updates out. Because the least amount of people are using the system at that point in time, which we can check and verify and validate that statement. That's why we chose that time frame, to roll updates out. And so I'm like, if you're having problems, please just give it a little bit. And then call me in the morning if it's still not up. Right? And people were like, oh, okay, yeah, that's great. And then call me at all hours. Like, I remember there was a customer who I left her house at 7:45 p.m. I was at her house way late, and we used to get off at 5:30 at this point in time. So I was there 2 hours and 15 minutes late. And finally got her stuff fixed her computer, fixed her printers, did all of this crap, tons of work that I was not supposed to do. And she tried to tip me. And it's the only tip I've ever turned down. And I'm glad I did. Right? Because, like, we're supposed to turn tips down. Like, oh, you don't need to tip me, I get paid for this. And, like, if somebody insists, typical American tip acceptance is you decline it once and then accept the second offer. Right? And then in that same process, the other person is supposed to offer it twice, knowing that is the social contract for that scenario. And so, exactly, right? And so, for a tradesman at least, right? And so, this lady tried to give me a tip of $150. And I was like, that's too much money, I'm not taking it. And she's just like, no, you need to take it, you've been here for so long. I'm like, no, I will not take that tip, right? It's not happening. Like, I'm not doing that. I did my job. Don't worry about it. I went above and beyond the call of duty here. Don't worry about it. So she started calling me every day. I left her house at 7:45. She called me at 9:45, 10:30, 11:45, and 1:10 in the morning. That night after I left. 4 times. And then she proceeded to call me 4 or 5 times a day for the next like 6 days. Even though I was working and answering and fixing her problem over the phone, she just kept forgetting about it. And finally she went into the store and complained that I took a tip from her. and like promised that I would continue working and all this and that. And my supervisor knows me, right? So at this point in time, and so he turns around and he's like, "Hey, what the hell is going on?" And I'm like, "All right, can we go into your office? I'll tell you the entire story, and I will show you the proof, and I will and I'm gonna wipe my hands of it. I'm gonna wash my hands, and that's it. Like that's all you're gonna get out of me. Well, unless he asks me more, right? But I'm like, I'm not gonna go talk to her, anything like that. I'm done with her." And he's like, "All right." So I went into his office, told him the whole story that I just told you, showed him the proof on my phone, and I was like, "Look, I would answer the calls, and you know, like there was 25 minutes, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, so on and so forth, just tons of time for the last like 5 days that I've been helping her, or 4 days, excuse me, that I had been helping her." And he was like, "Holy crap, okay." So he had me take screenshots of it all and send it to him, and they ended up getting corporate involved. Like she supposedly somehow knew the CFO of Comcast corporate, like so third or fourth in command. She's like friends with this person, and so he comes in like over the phone. He doesn't actually come here. But when that happens, if corporate gets involved, you better damn well believe that everybody in between me and that person is now involved, right? And so all of our tech ops management was here, the VP of the region, the president of the region, everybody came to this area to get the whole story and all this and that. They were threatening to write me up and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, you can try to write me up and I can turn around and take you to court and beat the pants off of you in arbitration because I have my proof. Like, do you have yours? Because you don't. And I'm just like, well, it happens a lot. Here in Santa Fe, it happens a lot because this is like a tourist rich person retirement community. Like, that's what it is. So all these super rich people, like one of my friends, and this is a friend of mine, like this isn't even a joke or an exaggeration, like this guy Tom Von Bulow and Marvin, they live up in a place called Las Campanas here in Santa Fe. They're pretty good friends of mine now. I started out as like a side job. I would go over and fix his tech and stuff like that, right? But Marvin used to be the VP of advertising for Volvo, like all of Volvo. And so like, and then Tom Von Bulow, you could Google him, like THOMVONBEULOW. Like, you can Google him. He's like a huge entrepreneur from the 90s, and then he just retired, and that was it. Like, and he lives here. He moved from Italy, and that was when I met him. When I was installing his stuff on his first day back from Italy. I was like, so we see it all the time. It happens all the damn time that these people know, like our VPs, our CEO, like the board of directors, like all the time. And so we're constantly on edge that we're going to screw something up in the wrong house. And so, like, anyway, like all that crap happened. And in my voicemails from this lady, she said, like, well, I understand you didn't take that tip from me on like 4 or 5 of the voicemails that she left me. And I'm like, Carlos, I have proof that she didn't give me a tip. She said it herself on my voicemails. Like, so what are you guys going to do? Like, you can't do anything to me because I prove right there that this never happened. And so it was just nonsense. Just nonsense. Yeah. Well, like, usually I would, yeah. If I did a lot of work and it feels genuine, you know what I mean? Like when I'm talking to the person, if they feel sincere when they're talking to me, usually I'll take it. And so I was like, no, you know, like I'll look into it. Like if a random person was just like, hey man, thank you so much for working so hard for me, or, you know, things along those lines, yeah, I'll turn around and be like, hey, you know what, you don't need to tip me. You really don't. Like, that is my job. That's what I'm supposed to do, and it makes me feel good. You don't need to tip me. And they're like, usually like, no, that's how I was brought up. Or their speech seems sincere, right? And so with hers, it was more like, no, you need to take this. And then it was like, no, you have to take this, because if I end up calling you, I want to make sure that you get compensated properly. And I'm like, if I answer, I'm on the clock, so I'm being compensated. And she's just like, no, you don't understand. You need to take this. And yada, yada, yada. She was really forceful, verbally forceful. Not rude or untactful. She was verbally, she had a lot of oomph behind her speech. And so I was like, no. Yeah. Yeah, so for her it was a repair. It was a repair that that the prior technician was one of our contractors, a business partner, who screwed everything up. So I had to go fix all of it. That's why I was there. Like when a supervisor, so it doesn't matter who you know with this company, because protocol mandates that, like I said, doesn't matter who you know, they still get a typical installer. It does, because we're the ones who do it. You know what I mean? Like my supervisor can go and do the install, but like Carlos was out of the field, has been out of the field so long now, for like 8 years. Like he doesn't remember all of this stuff anymore. He's not equipped for it. Like he doesn't have a buffer of equipment to do the install. Like he's doing businesses usually. If he's doing anything, it's a business. It's never a residential thing, unless like it's a constant, you know, we have to keep going back to fix it because somebody isn't doing their job right. And then he'll show up and be like, let me fix this jam, because this is ridiculous. Oh, yeah. 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 I mean, like, I still called her back and was still telling her, like, you know, I'm sorry, I'm off the clock. Like, I'm not gonna, I can't just call you and at all hours. Like, I'm not gonna do that. And so, yeah, it was, that lady was nuts. Yeah. Yep. And, well, and she was pissed off that I didn't take her tip, because that gives her ground to be like that. You know what I mean? Like, customers do it all the time. They'll sit there, and this is why a lot of people aren't friendly with customers. Like, why a lot of technicians just simply aren't nice to customers. Oh my God, I'm having the same issue that Mike had. Oh no, one of my characters is gone. No, it's Prim, the blonde chick, my healer. I might be able to pull her back, because with Prim, so like with the items, I've learned that if you cast or use an item, it'll pull your entire team to a single location. So I wonder if that'll happen here.
Healing power of Unseen. Cure water. Face.
Yeah. Like, all these people came down and they were talking to me and this and that, and like, these people already knew me because I was already a fiber technician. Like, I've already met all of these people because I was already really highly trained as a technician at this point in time, right? I was still kind of low on the totem pole technician-wise. Like, I was still only a CT3, but my knowledge and people, and the fact that I had already repaired a lot of big name issues, because there's only two people that anybody here in this city went to, and that was myself and my coworker Rocky. We're the only two people that anybody ever went to fix stuff. And if it involved anything with computers or IT or networking or anything, I was the one who was called because I could fix it, right? And so, like, these people already knew my name. They may not have known me because they meet hundreds of people a day or whatever, right? So, but they already knew who I was. And one of them was this guy, Mark Bobian, who was the guy who actually hired me. And, like, because at that point in time, he was still low, he was just a manager. Like, he wasn't a director at that point in time when I got hired. And so he knew me, and he's just like, no, Tim wouldn't do that. That's not how Tim works. Like, that's just simply not how Tim works. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Accusing me, well, she was accusing me of purposefully setting up her stuff incorrectly, which happens all the time because people, like, she was accusing me of doing that, as well as breaking a statue that I did not break, that the previous technician to me broke. And I had that on a voicemail as well. And so she's like, I just wanted, in the voicemail that she sent me, that was literally the first, I asked her to call me and leave that on a voicemail, the information, so I could bring it to my supervisor and have basically from the horse's mouth, right? So it's not me interpreting what she said, it's her. And so I was just like, can you call me right now? I was still at her house working when she called me and left me that voicemail. And I was like, on the voicemail, you hear her say, like, okay, well, so hi Tim, this is so-and-so, and I'm just doing what we spoke about, giving you the information so you can relay this to your supervisor. And then she's like, the previous technician, Jeremy, one of your business partners, you were saying that you believe he's a business partner because you don't have a Jeremy inside. And I'm like, okay. Like, the previous technician, Jeremy, broke a $2,500 statue with his ladder. And because he hit the statue with his ladder, which, like, it happens, right? It's total accident, complete accident. Comcast will cover that because that happens, right? We don't care. And so we care because it sucks that it broke, but what are you going to do? Like, there's only so much you can do. And so there, she just wanted to get that fixed and reimbursed and done. And so she left me that voicemail and then proceeded to try to say that I broke it when I was there. And then I'm like, dude, I was at her house when she left me this voicemail. And Carlos was like, really? And I'm like, yeah, look at the time clock of me being on job to the point of me completing the job. And then listen to the time clock of the voicemail. Like, I was there when she left this. I was like, more than likely, you could probably hear me in the background if you could discern that type of noise, like, working. I was like, because I heard her leaving me the voicemail. It was ridiculous. Like, that lady was nuts. But it's nothing new. Like, it happened all the time. Just all freaking time. Not to me, really. It was kind of rare when it happened to me, but constantly people would cut us off in the city trying to get us to hit them because they know Comcast will just pay out of pocket, like, settle out of court. And, like, that gets me fired. Like, it gets me fired. I lose my job because somebody wants an easy payday. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. If it's my fault, I'm done. Which, if Comcast is paying it out, it's my fault. Right? Otherwise, they would take them to court, beat the pants off of them and be done with it and move on. And so, like, with me, with us here in the city, like, it blows my mind because there are people who have cut me off in, like, little Miatas, Mazda Miatas, little two-seater crap cars that can't withstand a rock hitting it, let alone a 1-ton van with a ladder frame made of steel smashing into that thing at 50 miles an hour. Like, really? And so it just blows my mind because these people, like, I tell customers all the time, I'm like, look, people cut us off. I had a customer once cut me off multiple times, and then I ended up following that person to their house to do the install. Like, so they pulled in, and I drove up behind them. Like, and I'm like, are you for real? And they're like, you're an asshole, yada, yada, yada. They went crazy on me, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm not doing this job. Have a nice day. I just turned around and left. Told my supervisor, I'm like, we shouldn't be sending anybody to this house because this person was trying to cut me off. This person was trying to get me in an accident, blah, 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 blah. And, like, you could tell they were trying to cut me off, too, because they would whip in front of me. We were on a 3-lane road. Cerritos Road is 3 lanes. They would get in front of me, and then they'd move over into the lane on the right. And then they would slow down a little bit, so I'd kind of inch up on them in my lane, and then they'd whip over without a blinker, right? And then they'd go to the other side, and then same thing would happen, and they'd whip over to the point that they went over, they did it 3 times, and on the 3rd time, I just let off the gas. I was just like, I just coasted, and then they started hitting their brakes to get close to me again, and then I moved over a lane, and then moved over into the turn lane when they tried to do it again and just stopped. And they were like, they slowed down and got in front of me as if they were going to turn, and then I started going again, and they did the same thing. So they were trying to get me to hit them so they could get a free payday. Right? And I told that person, I was like, if I hit you, because they were in a little Dodge Neon, like those crappy cars that they made back in, 2000s? Like those shitty cars that have like the worst safety rating in history and stuff like that. And that's what I told her. I was like, if I would have hit you, like, you would not be the one receiving that money. And she's like, what's that supposed to mean? I'm like, that means you're in a shitty car, like one of the worst cars ever to get in a car accident in. And I was like, and you're getting hit by a 1-ton ladder frame steel vehicle. I would melt your car. And she's like, whatever, you're trying to kill me now? And I'm like, okay, whatever, lady. And I just left. I was like, have a good day. And I thought about it. I was like, I shouldn't have told her that. Because it does sound like you know what I mean? It does sound like I was saying that I would kill her if I hit her. Yeah. But that went to corporate, and it literally went to corporate, went to my manager, and I told my manager about what happened. And he's just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. That happens all the time. And I was like, what? Because I was only working here for like 6 months. I was just like, I'm sorry, that happens what? How many times? No, I don't like that. We need dash cams. Yep. Oh yeah. Well, Russia's so bad that they require dash cams in all vehicles. That's where a lot of those crazy accident videos come from. Or just crazy occurrence videos even. But, oh man. That's ridiculous. Alright, load game. Please don't be broken. That would be just splendid. Oh, thank Contained an axe orb. Ollie, oxen free. I just want my dragon. I want to see what the overworld looks like.
Wasn't the seed supposed to fix all? Oh, if only we had a sea hare's. Without one, this realm is finished. Do you... Oh, without one...
Oh my gosh.
Oh, without one...
You brought the fire seed back to the palace. Wait. Why?
Water.
Welcome to Kakara.
Everyone's leaving the kingdom. Maybe I'll move to the Empire. I heard Cannon Travel has a special route to the Empire.
I'm about to pass out from this. I've been waiting.
Hello! Welcome! Try to keep a low profile while you're in the Empire. Just...
ZPRGG.
Hey there!
Oh crap. I didn't mean to do
This is the Empire.
That Mara woman is a little off. I'd steer clear.
Mara's always steering around that little box.
Don't tell anyone I said this, but these days, he says he wants to bring the world together. But then he levies you. And then there are the monsters he keeps in it.
Get away from here. Get away from me. Get away from...
What are you playing? Is that the one that just came out?
Welcome. What'll it be?
What? Oh my gosh.
Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Come again.
Thank you. Come again. Oh, wow. Holy crap.
One night is 100 G.
I wonder if Pamela and Dialog are all right.
Worried?
Yes, but I have to do my best.
They'll be okay.
Thanks.
Just be patient and you'll see. Your hard work...
Listen up. Success is a mental thing. You gotta visualize it going well or you're never gonna get anywhere.
Besides, we're gonna help you along the way. When we can, at least.
Thank you so much. Well, what kind of boss doesn't look out for their underling? I never agreed to be your underling.
Tomorrow's another day. Let's get...
CWDs. Oh my god, are you serious? That one's awesome. Holy crap. Wow. I DPS my kids.
Oh.
Huh?
You're Gemma's friends. See, I'm actually a type. So was my husband until he got caught with sensitive info. I swear I'll avenge his death. Enter Nordtown from a sewer passageway east of here. Give the guard this secret number. 6.
Wow. That's how I got
Southtown's
through
not
my-
as big as...
You look suspicious. Don't let me...
You look suspicious. Don't let me catch you loitering. Shut up. Yeah, I've seen that one.
You think you know the secret?
Dino fish is spacing out there. Oh man. Spacing out. But I really don't want to fight these stupid drops. You're done, son. intrepidity? Like intrepid? Okay. Yeah. Are you courageous? Are you, as a guild, are you going to be courageous and fearless? Just name it.
Thanks.
Should just name it Austin. Start screaming at someone, you're like, what the crap did you name yourself that for? What kind of BS? It's a cute eye, it's really kind of under that.
You asked
I like
for it.
intrepidity.
You asked for it.
My favorite one, if I just want to like come up with something, is classic. Just classic. Like, because then like you get people asking, like your friends, or somebody watching a stream if you're streaming or what have you. And they're just like, what the heck do you name yourself? What's that even mean? Like I had a guy when I played World of Warcraft, his name was Classic. I was like, that's such a good name. It's such a good name. Like, I don't know why it's such a good name, but to me it's so good.
You asked for it.
Yeah.
Not so fast. Who are you? Here.
No, 634.
Oh, you're that swordsman that Gemma told us to be on the lookout for. Welcome to the Resistance.
Nice to meet you.
What's with the proper act all of a sudden?
Jealous?
As if. You know I'm only interested in dialogue.
Wait! You know Dialogue?
Of course.
Have you heard of the ruins to the east of this town? Supposedly there's a man there named Dialogue who's stealing people's life energy.
That's what happened in Pandora. But why would...
Something must be controlling him. I'll make sure the Resistance looks into it.
But you will to make sure that he's
Chrissy is our lead.
Good luck.
Chrissy's a jerk.
Chrissy's dad, Sog, founded the Resistance. The Resistance could have easily fallen apart, but she's only 18, but we all depend on her.
The Empire used to be such a peaceful nation.
All this jazz started about 15 years ago, if I reckon. About
Chrissy
when-
had to grow up
when
too
you were
fast.
born,
At
young'un.
this age, I'm sure she just wanted to...
The Emperor entrusts his 4 generals with most military. Sheik's is the leader, plus there's Geshtar, the mech rider, and Fanha, the strongest woman in the Empire's army.
Oh, it's a good thing that I already killed Geshtar.
Last but not least, Thanatos, the Mystic Knight. That's all I know.
The Emperor's troops are searching for this.
Those ruins to the east sure are popular these days. Who knows?
Who knows what those young
Take
ones
your
are doing
time.
over there in the ruins to the east?
All's clear. 2, 3, 5. Oh, I'm playing more like that old...
This cafe is a front for the Resistance. I've heard Chrissy.
I really hope we don't have war in our lifetime.
The Empire's domain stretches from this town to Southtown and Gold Isle.
I lost my father in the battle with the...
Because, like,
See
I don't
my
know what it is,
wife? She's been acting strangely all of this.
Sorry. I don't know. I don't know what the hell it is. It must just be like a string of luck, I guess, with this one. But I've been playing a lot of freaking games recently that people are like, it shows children going and quote unquote playing war. And I'm like, dude, I don't want that. Like, I've been through combat. Like, that's not good.
Welcome.
No true soldier is gonna ever want for war. Like, a true soldier, a true general, a true leader is going to try to avoid war at almost all costs. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, yeah, this war of mine. Oh, it is. It destroys me. Like, you end up coming across the kids, and you have to keep the kids happy and stuff like that, man. And like, they cry when you're playing the game, and then you're like, what the hell? And like, you go, of course, go to inspect and investigate, like, why is this kid crying? If you're a good person, you do. And so, like, like, you go in and they're just like, I don't know where my parents are, like, I haven't seen my friends and all this other stuff. I'm like, dude, what the shit right now? Like, I don't want to play this.
Anything else? Come again.
And they need, like, medicine for their parents and stuff, and oh man. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I've survived for 80 days and like felt worse of a person. I do, man. Like, if you ever want to tell somebody what it's like have an idea of what it's like in war, fucking play that game all the way through it. Like, it's quite accurate. Like, to the point that, like, you go through, and if you steal from people, it depresses your entire crew. And if you kill people that don't deserve it, it depresses your entire crew, and it makes people go mad, and they kill themselves. If they die when you're out raiding or something in the middle of the night, like, your team is just crying for like a week because these people are dead, and oh man, it's freaking rowdy. Like, F that noise. It's actually a good game though.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Come again.
Yep. Then I found out that so it doesn't affect me as much anymore playing that game, because I found out, like, the loopholes, right? Because it's totally one of those games that you can use the loopholes, like, just like Don't Starve, you know what I mean? And so, like, in that game, get a bunch of gears as much as you can and build rat traps, right? Because you end up finding, like, fertilizer and extra meat and stuff like that. So, like, if you have one meat, you can put it in a rat trap and it makes 2 meat. And then once you start getting those going, so you'll have to, for a few days, you'll still have to, like, have some food and raid and do all that stuff. But once you start get going, you typically no longer need to go steal for food. Like, it becomes like you're autonomous. at that point. Just by chance. Really, I was just playing the game. I was like, oh, well, that's useful.
One night is 120 GP. Stay the...
Oh, yeah. For real.
This is Northtown.
Some fellas from the castle were gabbing about
yeah.
sunken treasure near the coral reef to the south.
Yeah. Like, it's so rough. Like, it's so rough. But that game breaks my heart every time I play it. Like, oh man, it's so good.
Don't let bad thoughts
No, I haven't done that. That's a lot of gameplay. Like there's that, like, I don't know if you remember, but like when you're selecting your map that you're playing, like you go in and it's got the pre-builts, and so like you can play as like Roman and Zatanya or whatever her name is, and different people matched together. Like it goes all the way around and then creates like a spiral with photos of how many people or how many combinations there are. And so like I've beaten it on 35 days, I think, and then I've beaten it on 50 days, and then I made like I just picked my own characters and picked 80 days and beat it on the 80 days. But honestly, once you know what you're doing, like when you hit like day 30, you're pretty much autonomous. Like, well, if you're fast enough about it, when you hit like day 20, you're autonomous. Like there's nothing else to do. Like, so basically you just need a couple of lockpicks or a crowbar, preferably a crowbar. It's more versatile. So like build a crowbar, maybe two, depending on how many things you have to break into. But like build a crowbar and then bring the crowbar with you because it can be used as a weapon. And then get good at hiding and killing people from like assassinating people. And so, because what'll happen is like if you get an axe, that's the best weapon in the entire game in my opinion. If you get an axe, you're good to go. Like an axe and a shotgun, you'll kill everybody. Like it's ridiculous. I've cleared out entire maps with just an axe and a shotgun, just hiding, waiting for like creating noise, like by running really fast across a floor or something, and then hiding, and then like somebody will come and try to find you. And when they get close enough, you can assassinate them effectively. Like you get close enough, and then you'll knock them to the ground and just hack them to pieces with your axe. And then you're just like, it's pretty brutal. Like it's pretty brutal.
Why is the Emperor fixated on the rest of the world? We have a big family.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh dear, I don't have anything to wear.
Lately,
Yep.
there haven't been any balls
Totally
at the
is,
castle.
like,
My sister's going
I don't know.
stir-crazy.
I've told a few people. Pretty much everybody I say, or everybody I talk to, and now you included, because I'm gonna say it to you too. Like I always tell everybody, like, please just try to make it to Arizona. If there's ever anything that happens, make it to Arizona. Mainly because of the climate. Like that's why, right? Like it's easier to cool off than it is to warm up, right? So if you're in the north, it's harder to survive in a bad situation. So go to Arizona. Don't get too close to the border of Mexico and the United States. Like, stay away from that, because Yuma's down there, and that's where a nuclear power plant is. So don't get too close to that. Like, maybe get to like Phoenix, northeast Phoenix in the hills or something like that, Payson or something. But like in Arizona, there's tons of water. It's very climate controlled, and I tell people all the time, I'm like, this is really cocky, but I'm here. Like I'm survival trained. Like I know how to survive in that type of weather. Like I know how to survive in the desert and make sure everybody has water. I know what we can eat. I know everything. So I tell everybody, please just try to make it to me, please, so I can make sure you're safe. Because if like all the people I care about, I'm like, I want to protect you, but I can't fly across the country in a crazy scenario. Like I can't teleport across the country to where everybody lives, so it's easier for everybody to come to me. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I always forget that the aircrew do that. Holy crap. Well, like, and that's kind of what everybody tells me, but like...
Are you okay?
Or that's what I tell everybody, is like, I know how to survive to an extent, but I didn't get my... like desert survival training from military. I got it actually from high school. Like we had a thing called outdoor life sports. It was a class that you had to get. Our freshman football coach, Coach Wokash, he was the one who did the class, and you had to do. And he was a SWIC, and so he he's heavily trained in survival of all types. Like he's an American Bear Grylls, right? And so he was telling us, like, you cannot get into this class without a waiver from me, as well as you have to complete PE 1 and 2 in addition to a 1 weights course. The only waiver that he would give is for the weights course, because that's just what the school wanted, because it was like a super extracurricular thing. And so they didn't want just everybody going into it. And what we ended up doing is, like, we ended up staying outside for weekends and stuff like that. We'd go on camping trips to where we brought like a survival Altoids tin. Have you ever built one of those? Just like the stupid little tins that have like a mirror and a sewing kit and waterproof matches and different little knick-knacky things that you would need.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! I won't go back. Dyluck and I are happy here. Leave us be.
Yep. Well, and like, I get made fun of, I can't say made fun of, but I kind of am being made fun of. But like my coworkers here, I've told them that my sea bag, my military sea bag, is always set up. Like it's always there. Like, and I'll check it periodically and do stuff like that and kind of make sure everything's intact and stuff like that. But it's always ready. Like I have a go bag, effectively. It's not really truly a go bag because it's really not set up for that. It's set up for me to be recalled. That's what it's set up for. And so it's not a go bag, but it's really damn close, right? And so like I tell people that and I'm like, no, like they can recall me whenever they want because I'm military police. Like that's why they would recall me, because they're gonna call me and my class and cast before they do a draft. Like they're gonna recall everybody who's prior military first, and then they're gonna do the draft. That's how it works. And so the like my coworkers and people here, except for the one Army guy who hasn't seen it happen, but he knows that it could happen. Like the one Army guy is the only one who's like, no, yeah, I have the same thing. He's like, they wouldn't recall me because of my age, He's like, but they still can. Like, he's like, it's in my contract. It's in all of our contracts. We signed away our lives. Like,
what do you think of that, huh?
dude,
This is revenge for
it
taking
sounds
him
so
from me in the
stupid,
first
like,
place. He'll
even to
never
me
be
right now,
yours.
it sounds stupid, but I still like having it. It gives me that, what's the word? Like, security blanket? The hell? Sense of security. Thank you. That's the phrase I was going for. Yeah, it gives me that comfort. Knowing that, like, okay, some crazy shit happens, I can grab this, and we will be ready for... It'll be like a jack of all trades scenario, master of none, but it's still better than a master of one. So, like, I'm ready for a lot of little things, nothing extreme. Like, it's not like I have my M16 or an AK or something in my truck, in my bag, or...
What? But Pamela, that can't be.
I've only told her, like, if I ever call her, and I'm like, get the kids in the car now, just listen. Because I've never ever once said that to her as a joke or anything. Like, I told her, like, I've told her a couple times, if I ever call you and I'm like, get the bare essentials, get a bunch of water, get quick food, non-perishables, get some cans, and get the hell in the car and start driving to point A. I will meet you there. You do that, grab my sea bag, and let's go. Like, if I ever tell her, effectively, the phrase that I need to tell her, that I told her I would say is, grab my sea bag, grab the kids, get what we need, and go. And she's just like, okay. And I was like, hopefully I'll never say that to you, but I can guarantee you that if I say that to you, you better goddamn listen to me. I will explain the situation later when I get there. Like, you better hurry the hell up. And it's even more important now that we're going back to Phoenix, because Phoenix is one of the nation's major cities. Like, that's not a place to be in a time of war. You don't want to be there. Where you want to be is like Santa Fe. Like, freaking 80,000 people. Pretty much, man. Like, the Santa Fe's, what the hell is it called? Air National Guard, I think it's called. Santa Fe's Air National Guard here is supported by, because it's National Guard, so it's a state thing, and so it's supported by Santa Fe, right? And Santa Fe's rich, as well as we have Los Alamos just north of us, and Los Alamos is where they created portions of the atom bomb, right? So they still have a lot of that stuff there because you can't move it safely. And so it's all just kind of buried in closed down bunkers and stuff like that up there, and everybody knows about it, but they just leave it alone, right? And so it's heavily protected. There's an extremely strong military presence up there and stuff like that, but it's not like a combat military presence, it's a response presence. And so they leave it alone, right? So theoretically, you wouldn't attack that because there's nothing to gain from attacking it. Like, there's no servers there, there's no nothing. In this day and age, the next war that we're probably gonna have, if we have a war, is gonna be a data war. Like, it's gonna be an electronic war. There's gonna be a lot of gunfire, don't get me wrong, there's gonna be a lot of death, but it's gonna be mostly like digital, because that's how you gain control. Like, if you have no money to spend because you've been hacked and everything's been stolen or dropped off, and credit bureaus aren't able to protect you, so on and so forth, you're boned. Like, if we still had the gold standard, or silver and gold standard, if we still used precious metals to back our money, it would be a different story, but we don't use precious metals to back our money. We float our money off of credit. And so, yep. But pretty much everybody does that nowadays. Like, the only countries that don't do that are like the Middle Eastern countries who have a lot of natural resources flowing already. Like, we have a lot of natural resources too, but they're not built. Whereas the Middle East, it's all built. And that's why there's constant conflict over there, because we're assholes and we need to keep it unstable. That's what I personally believe. Like, I really do.
Can you take care of our friend for now?
We
It's
don't
a
need
long
to be
story.
there. Oh, that's right, the missile scare. Yep. Yep. Well, and that blows my mind because we have anti-ballistic missile protection, right? So it would have to be like a stealth missile flying through the air, which is, it's not like it's not doable, right? But at the same time, like, for real, like, they're gonna build a stealth missile, not only a stealth missile, but a stealth ICBM missile, like an intercontinental, like. Yeah, it's gonna ping instantly. And so...
Okay, there's a doctor sympathetic to our cause. We'll take her there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Leave this to us. You go help Diluc.
Oh my god. I saw those pictures, man. Like, people screenshot it and stuff like that, and then they screenshot the stand down of that text, and I was like, holy crap, that's nuts. Like, what kind of lunatic? Holy crap. For real. What's going on, BR Liz? Oh man. Well, I have a lot of friends asking me about Guam and stuff, because that's where I was. And so they're always like, well, what do you think about the stuff that's happening over there? And, like, my family's over there. Like, what do you think? And I'm like, I think that they're probably going to be fine. Like, if you were in Japan, that'd be a different freaking story. But you're not in Japan. You're in Guam, 1,700 miles away. Like, you're probably fine. Like, that thing would have to be just incredibly fast. I don't know. Especially in Guam. Like, maybe not Japan, because it's not as heavily protected as Guam is, but Guam is a top secret base. Like, yeah, it's extremely strategic. Like, so yeah, especially of all the places that are gonna have high amounts of protection, it's gonna be Guam. Like, holy crap! What is this? School is spacing out, bro. Oh man. I'm tripping on my acid. Whoa. Get the heck out of here, you silly bat. Oof. That's a lot of damage. It looks like I would like it, from what I was looking at on the PlayStation Store, but I'm not sure. Is it like an RTS or?
You asked for it! Get ready!
I'll have to check it out. I think I might wait. I really like buying used copies of games from GameStop, so if I don't like it, I can return it. So I'll probably end up waiting until I can do that, but like with games like that, people typically stop playing them really fast for some reason. I think it's just because people aren't patient to want to play a game like that anymore, which sucks because those games are amazing. Oh, it is? What? I'm gonna check right now. What? Yeah, because I got Rime. Well, oh, is it like the hidden game? Yeah, there it is, Grand Kingdom. Okay, yeah. Oh my god. I'll have to try it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I probably will like it. Oh, it's an anime style too. Fantastic. Add to library. Thank you so much. Don't mind if I do. Click OK. Download. Yes, thank you. This isn't the game I was thinking it was. The other one, it's the store, PlayStation Store imagery for it seems a little bit more realistic for the one that I'm thinking of. But it is like another Kingdom thing game. I'll see if I can find it. Cause Kingdom Come Deliverance. That's what I think. That's the one. Let me open it up. I'm not sure now. Yeah, massive realistic open world, majestic castles, vast fields, all rendered in stunning high-end graphics. Distance, stealth, or melee. Choose your weapons. Execute dozens of combos. No, maybe this isn't the one I was thinking of. Crazy. This game looks epic. This isn't the game I was thinking it was either, but this game looks epic. Oh no, I'm sorry. Kingdom Come, the one that I was talking about. It's not the game I was thinking it was, but it looks quite epic. I'm not gonna buy it, but it looks quite epic. Oh my god, Sword Art Online is still happening. Holy crap. Alright, so... I'm ready to take a break from Superman. Like, the trailer looked really cool. It looks like a damn movie. Well, the story looks like a movie. Like, the game kind of looks mediocre visually at best. But, yeah, the story looks pretty intricate. Just running past all these enemies. Should be killing all of them. Dun, 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 dun. Music terrifies me, so I don't want to play this level. Freaking music, man. Screw this fucking music. Gives me flashbacks to me being a terrified child. Oh my god, stop getting lit on fire. This is your major malfunction. Oh, you're almost dead, holy crap.
Healing power of Undine! Cure water!
Cure water.
Thanks.
Getting foggy. Fogalicious. Fergalicious. So I got to do it over there, and then I got to do it over here. I'm gonna go in this door. Miss me, stupid Chogan POS. Really want to go play D&D. My friend is trying to get me to DM for him. So right now D&D 5.0, like the actual paper and pen game. No, we're gonna actually be together when I move to Phoenix. Is when we're gonna do it. Yeah. Yes, sir. Why, you want to play? I love Nathan. Oh, wow.
Away! Ow, ow, ow! Ow, ow, ow! Ow,
yep.
ow, ow!
Yeah. That's really what it comes down to, is like how thorough of an explanation does your DM give? And how quickly does your DM give that explanation? Because if it's too long, like, I'm very long-winded. So it's a problem for me, but other people. Yeah.
Healing power of Undine. Cure water.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Get ready.
Yep. Yep.
Healing power of Undine. Cure water. Face.
Yep. Like, we built, Katie's never played it, and I'm trying to get her into D&D and different games and stuff, right? And so, she's never played it, right? But we had talked, and I was telling her, like, we need to, or we ended up building her a character when we drove back from Phoenix this past time. And, holy shit. Anyway. Sorry, I just got smacked. Yeah, so we built her a character, and I was like, well, how about, she was joking around, she's like, I just want to build like a Hermione. And I'm like, alright, so we'll make you a sorcerer. Like, I'm fine with that. And she's just like, well, what does that mean? And I'm like, so the difference between the two is a wizard, because you have the wizard and the sorcerer, and that's pretty much, everybody knows those two, but they don't know what the actual difference is, right? And I'm like, okay, well, the difference is that a sorcerer has innate magical power, and a wizard is learned. Like, it's spells and rituals and stuff like that. And she was like, okay. And I was like, so let's build you a sorcerer. And so we started doing that. We ended up making her a character that has, it's called Wild Magic, which is, like, she's a sorcerer that was like just a random person, right? And then suddenly she became magical, and nobody knows why. And so, like, because of that, like, I gave her, I told her to take Wild Magic. And she's like, okay, well, what does that do? And what it does is, like, every time she casts a spell, any spell, doesn't matter what level it is or what have you, anytime she casts a spell, it does, she has to roll a percentage check. And then whatever percentage she gets, she looks at the table that's in the book that comes with her Wild Magic character, and then it does that it has an added effect, and you don't know what the added effect is until you roll. So sometimes the added effect is like double damage, or, you know, it add a 1d4, or like blow up the room and shit like that, and everybody takes 1d4 because your magic just goes nuts and electric bolts fly everywhere and shit. I just told her, I was like, you can pick whatever you want, honey, like, but I do want you to pick one that's in the book. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, because if it's in the book, then it's easy for you to look up. That's what it comes down to. Like, I want you to pick the one in the book so you can follow with it yourself. And we don't have to sit here and be like, well, you know, like, let's pull this up, let's look at this one, let's find out, and yada yada yada. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I just want to pull it up in the book and be like, this is what you can do. And she's like, alright, that sounds good.
I'm ready. Get ready.
Well, we're gonna end up using what the hell is it called? We're gonna end up using placement miniatures, like the just spot characters, not really like movement D&D miniature stuffs. But yeah, we're gonna end up using placement miniatures, so it can so we can make sure that like when we that way I'm able to explain it, because she's not the only new person. Like, there's 2 other new people, and then there's 3 people that have played it before. And so we're gonna have a 6-person party. And I'm just like, you guys, I'm telling you right now, as a DM, you absolutely need to, like, sit down. Everybody needs to have the same stuff. Everybody needs to have understanding of everything that's going on, because I am not playing this. Like, I'm not doing it. There's a lot of work, and I don't want to deal with it. Kablam. Oops. Using magic, you jerks.
Get ready. You asked for it.
Come on. Look in your stupid eye.
Get ready.
Oh, get wrecked. Played this game way too much to know how to not die from a boss. To not know how to not die from a boss. But it's gonna be fun. Like, I love sorcerer characters, especially when they do wild magic. Like, the other sorcerer, typical breed of a sorcerer is draconic magic, and so their bloodline is meshed somewhere in history with a dragon of whatever type, right? And so different dragons have different elemental types, which is like they do more damage for certain elements and then receive less damage from that element. So like for example, a bronze dragon is lightning, right? And so that type of shit. And so, but what's cool about the draconic magic is that as you level up, you gain the ability to become part dragon. And so you gain like the dragon's breath ability at level 6 or something like that. And you gain the ability to to sprout wings, dragon wings, and just fly around while you're fighting or whatever you feel like it. So like you could sprout dragon wings, and then at level 20 or 18 or 17 or something, you gain the ability to emit your ancient dragon's presence, which can create awe or fear in everyone around you. And like everybody has to roll a status check, even your party. And so like you can just troll your party and get a shit ton of charisma, and then roll out that freaking dragon ability, and then just cause your entire party to be in awe every time you use your aura. Just piss everyone off. It's so stupid, but it's so funny. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
At last. I've missed you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, Diluc.
I don't know. In the new D&D though, like they seem to be pretty much the same characters. Because I was looking at it, because I initially played 3.5, and they're separate in those ones. And then I started playing, or I started reading up on 5.0, and they seem to be like identical to one another, except for they have different spells that you can use.
Bring her back now.
Per class, right? So everybody has cantrips that can be used all the time, so level 0 spells. And then, like, everybody now has level 1 spells that you can only use so many times a day.
Soul.
And level 2 spells, level 4, 6, 8, whatever, right? And so now I'm just like, well, they're the same fucking class now. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, the whole point of it in the past was that you...
Ouch!
Like, the sorcerer was had a lot more spells to cast, and so he didn't have to rest as often as he needed to.
Thank you.
And so on and so forth, and like what you were just saying.
I
And
can
so
think clearly
the
again.
sorcerer could throw a bunch of spells everywhere, but they were uncontrollable usually at the early levels. And then
Please
the wizard
help
was
her.
controllable, but he took a little
She's
bit
in
longer
terrible
for the
danger.
spells and stuff
There's
like that. And so
a door behind the
I don't
altar.
know.
Go! Here it is!
No! You This girl's life force is stronger than I expected. She'll make a fine specimen.
Yeah. DDO. Oh, yeah, like the old, like you had to buy it when it first came out, and then they made it free to play and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, I think I played that temporarily, just to see.
What? No! This is impossible! How?
Where am I?
Well, I think DDO used the 3.5 rules, because that was when DDO came out, 3.5 was out. So it was either AD&D rules or 3.5 rules. Probably AD&D, honestly, because they're simpler.
What's wrong with you two?
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. Oh, man.
We can move!
We can move.
I see. Diluc must have... He never fails to impress. Oh, I have no more need of you fools.
Vampire, do with them as you will. GTFO, Vampiro. I'm gonna jack you up. 'Cause I'm better than you.
Analyzer! You asked for it!
He's got 99 Impa. Vampire's weakness is Lumina. Well, it's too bad I don't freaking have Lumina. Oh man. Such a good game.
Water, water! Get ready! You asked for it!
Playing.
Get ready! Get ready!
Well, the new ones that they've rolled out, it's become a lot more in tune with the way it used to be. like 5.0 and 3.5. That's why I liked both of those, was because 3.5, like 3.0 brought it away, like brought it more to, they were trying to make it accessible for everybody to really kind of play the game, regardless of age and different stuff like that. And then with 3.5, they brought it back to the, like the beginning of, I have my D&D 3.5 books next to me right now, actually, and they, like, if I still had the page, because it's been ripped out since then, but in the very beginning of the 3.5 book, the first page, the copyright page, right, on the front of the copyright page, because it's always on the back, on the front of the copyright page, it says, this book is a guide and should be treated as such. This is not a rule book. And then that's it, right? And so, like, because they basically just said, like, hey, use this as you see fit, but you don't need to actually use this book. Like, just go play the damn game, get a character sheet, and tell a story. And that's all you have to do, really. Make your own character sheet, choose your own stats. Like, you don't, that's why all of these games, like Pathfinder and like the future games and the steampunk games and all these other games come out, they're literally the same thing as D&D with a different skin. And like, people are like, no, that one's way better, and it's like, no, it's just, that's the game that you like. It has nothing to do with it being way better, because it's the same game. It's just a different style of storytelling with different stats and stuff like that. Like, I can go in, because I'm a DM, I can go in and gut all of D&D down to its base parts and then rebuild it from scratch for Warframe. Like, that wouldn't be hard, because it's D&D. It's 100% open. Do whatever the hell you want. And so, like, I was talking to the party that we're building right now, and I keep telling them, like, you guys don't understand. You don't have to follow the book with everything. Like, do you guys want to do encumbrance? Do you know what that means? And they're like, well, yeah, I think we should follow the book. I'm like, do you know how much fucking math that is? Like, do you really want to sit there with a calculator per player, a calculator? And whenever you get something, you have to add it into the calculator and do the calculation to see if the percentage of your weight is going to encumber you and stop your movement? Do you really want to do that? Or do you want me to just give you a bag of holding so you never have to deal with it? Like, how do you want to play? And they're like, well, we should follow the book. I'm like, the book tells you to play however you want. How do you want to play? Like, come on, you guys. Well, they... No, go ahead, I'm sorry. And that's my point of view, is like, when you're worrying about all the little semantic type things, all you're doing is pulling yourself out of it. And like, the last thing you want to do is pull yourself out of it. You know what I mean? Like, you want to stay focused on the story so you can play the game and, you know, do what you're trying to do in the first place. And so my point of view is that for experienced and veteran players, that stuff is great, right? Because then you burn through it, you already know how to multitask and stay in the story but pay attention to your character and all of that stuff, because it is a lot of information. right, that you have to pay attention to. Like, you're sitting here looking at all your feats, making sure that all of your actions are still within the bounds of your character. But once you hit, like, level 20, you know your character like the back of your damn hand. Like, you know your percentages, you know where you're at, because it takes so long to get there, you know, right? And so I was telling the guys and girls that we're going to be playing with, I'm like, you guys, let's do away, like, so what we're going to do, I actually went out and bought the starter set for D&D, right? It comes with 5 pre-made characters, it comes with a 160-page adventure, just like a starter adventure, and I'm like, we'll play the starter adventure. This is my offer to you guys as a DM, because I want to play how you guys want to play. I can adapt to your playstyle easy enough. That's not a problem. All I am is the referee. I'm the storyteller and the referee. That's it. I'm not a god. I don't step in and fix stuff unless I think you guys are going to die. Like, I'm not going to screw you over. And I was like, and I'll tell you guys that right now. Early on, don't expect to be wiped out unless you just get incredibly unlucky. Right? I'm like, but other than that, like, don't expect to be destroyed. Expect me to fudge some stuff. Expect me to make it enjoyable. And I'm like, once we start getting into the higher echelons of the game, expect it. Like, expect me to try to kill your characters. Like, fairly. Not breaking the game rules or anything, like breaking the game, but fairly expect me to give you a legitimate challenge. Like, but at the start, we're going to play the starter set. We're going to find out the rules we want to keep, find out the rules we don't want to keep. Playing through a starter adventure is a perfect way to do that. And they're telling me, like, well, we really want to do adventures. Like, we want to have, like, a common goal, and we want to have, like, a start point and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's not really how D&D works. Like, I can do that, but you're taking a lot of it away from you guys. Like, you guys are losing a lot of that experience in the game. And I don't mean, like, your character leveling up. I mean just, like, the fun of the game. Like, and exploring an unknown region and imagining all of this. Like, but if you guys don't want to play that way, that's fine. I can adapt to it. I'm just telling you that that's a really great aspect that you're automatically mixing without even trying. And they're like, well, yeah, we just want to have a common enemy. And I'm like, okay, then let's do the starter campaign. The starter adventure, it's not a campaign, it's just an adventure. I'm like, it's got an enemy to beat, it's got a dungeon to dive. Like, it's a starter adventure. It's exactly what you guys would expect. And they're like, okay, great. And so I started talking to them about that, and I'm like, when we get higher level, like, you guys are probably, the best option is going to be to get, like, the Sword Coast Adventure book, which is, I don't know if you've ever read any of the Forgotten Realms stories. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so D&D created a Sword Coast Adventure book. And so it's all of the information you could probably ever need to start a just broad spectrum adventure in the Sword Coast. Like your Dritz-Do'Urden and Minsk and stuff like that. Like, just walking around. Yeah, and so, and I told him, like, we should get that book. I'm gonna buy that book, and I'm gonna look into that book and see if it's viable for us. I'm like, but ultimately, like, a lot of these books that you guys want, like, they're $50 a pop. Like, don't expect me to buy that, because I don't believe in that. So if you want to do that, you buy it, and I'll play it for you. I'm like, but don't expect me to be dropping $50 on something I don't want to do. And they're like, well, if you don't want to DM, and I'm like, that's not what I said. I said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to read a book and be only referee. Like, that's all I'm doing, is reading this book, retelling the story as it goes, and refereeing the game. That's it. And they're like, well, it's not really that bad, and blah, 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 blah. You can change some of the aspects. I'm like, yeah, but if I change one aspect and it just so happens to coincide with another aspect, I now have to change the other aspect, which might just so happen to coincide with the next aspect, and so on and so forth, until the domino becomes an entire pattern that you watch on YouTube. And I'm just like, I would love to do this for you guys, but I'm telling you, if we're going to read the books, it's going to be better just to follow the book closely and be done with it. And I was like, so don't go look into these books trying to figure out if you want to do this one. Just go read the back of it and keep the book closed. Otherwise, you're going to spoil the adventure for you, and it ruins the entire game. If you know what to expect, you're breaking the game. That's not fair. And they're like, well, okay, I guess so. Like, I like you guys a lot, but y'all are being kind of ridiculous.
Thanks.
Oh crap, get out of the way, Prim.
You asked for it! Get ready!
Come on. How much health does this still have?
Get ready! Air blast! I'm ready! Water! Pure water! Ready? You asked for it!
Wake up.
Get ready! You asked for it! Get ready! Water! Pure water! Get ready!
You know, it's another thing about the D20. Like, I told them that we should use D20. And they're like, why? You know, like, because D20 has maps built into it, like, we don't have to buy anything. Like, we can, but it's only like $10 or $20 or whatever. It's really cheap, comparatively speaking, to the alternative. I used it a few years back with like a couple of Final Fantasy XIV people that I played with years ago, and like they walked me through it then, and it was just fantastic, and it could only be better. Like if they ruined that would be the dumbest possible thing. Damn it. Screwed up my spell.
Get ready! I'm ready! Win! Analyzer! I'm ready!
Oh my god, this guy's 68 health left. Come on. Hurry up and die. So I can frickin' attack you for real? Come on, dude. It's pretty bitchin' so far. Like, I'm very pleased with it so far. Yeah.
Takes more than that. Thanks.
Yep. Oh yeah. Because he's blue at night. It's so true, though. Yeah, oh yeah.
Dialogue!
Hey.
We should go.
Yeah.
Don't worry. What matters is that he's alive. I know it.
Yep. That's 100% correct as to how people were building their characters. Like, I remember people telling me, like, party members telling me, like, oh yeah, you should, like, can I just build my character and can you just build the stats for me? And I'm like, sure. And so, like, I had a guy ask me to be part bear, part orc, and part dragon or something like that. I think it was dragonkin. So he was 1/3 dragonkin, 1/3 bear, and 1/3 orc. And I'm like, he's like, and all he wanted was like all the strength bonuses, all the pluses, but he wouldn't acknowledge any of the negatives that each of those things would have had, right? So all three of them, you're not going to have any fucking dexterity, like, at all. You're going to have no evasion. These are massive creatures that you're talking about. Orcs are the clumsiest of the clumsy. Like, these are not fucking, like, very, you know, very finessed creatures. Like, these are very clunky. Like, we're going to just face pound you to death, right? And that's how they work. And they're not intelligent, right? And this guy's like, no, Dragonkin's super intelligent. I should have at least a bonus for intellect. I'm like, no, you fucking shouldn't. Like, you know, you should have wisdom, maybe, because it's being counteracted by the fact that, I don't know, you're a goddamn bear. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, but I'm an intellect, like, I'm like a werebear, like I'm a humanoid bear, like I'm learned. And I'm like, no, you're fucking not, dude. Like, don't try to bullshit me through this. Like, I'm the DM, dude. Like, don't like, I'm trying to appease you, but you need to give and take. Like, it's not just give on my end. I'm not gonna unbalance my entire campaign just because you are fucking selfish. And you don't want to actually play the game, you want to control the game. Yeah. Well, honestly though, so with that being said, I had a Facebook post that I read the other day because we were all talking about D&D, so somebody posted it on my wall, and it's basically just like a bunch of D&D stories that people had posted on like Tumblr and Reddit and 4chan and stuff like that. And one of them is this guy who, well, there's two of them. One is this guy went to the DM, and it's being told, like, the story is being told by the DM. He's like, I had a guy come and ask to be a bear. Just a bear, right? Nothing else, just a bear. And he's like, and he maxed out his charisma and maxed out his bluff, right? and so like, he had a strength bonus, right? But he wasn't dexterous. He was he had a lot of constitution because he's a bear, right? But he had no intellect, no wisdom. He couldn't do anything except for like strength checks, constitution checks, which are extremely rare, and then charisma checks, right? And so he had this guy who was just a bear, and he would bluff his way through everything. Like, he would communicate. Whenever he had to communicate something to his party, he would have to roll a fucking bluff check to see if he could communicate with his party, right? And he would always pass. He would always pass because he had incredibly high points in bluff and everything like that. So he could roll like a 4 and it would still count as like an 18 because he had that many points, like through charisma and everything else. So he ends up bluffing his entire way. He's like, at the end of the goddamn campaign, this bear was knighted, and he bluffed his way through his knight speech. And finally, somebody rolled a suspicion check, or whatever the hell he called it. I don't know what he called it. It wasn't the normal style of check, right? And so somebody rolled a check against him and finally won, and was like, hey, wait a minute, that guy's a bear. Right? Of course, right? Keep him with the story. Like, that guy's a bear, yelling at everybody else in the banquet or whatever that they had going on for the bear being knighted. And so, because of that, the DM rolled a check to see if other people believed the guy, and he fucking rolled a 1. And so he's just like, yeah, and everybody else just laughed at him and threw him out of the fucking banquet and apologized to the bear. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Like, that's really cool. Like, that's the type of thing, like, you're not gaining all of this ridiculous shit without having ridiculous drawbacks. So he's not smart, he's not wise, he's very not dexterous. Like, he's just a bear who can bluff his way through shit. And so, like, that's it, right? And he's strong, so like when his party needed something, he could fucking fight back, right? And so he was the tank, and that was it. And so the like, there's that one, and then I had another one in that same post that I was reading, that the guy was like, he's just like, yeah, so I had a friend who really wanted an orc thief, not a half orc thief or anything like that. He wanted an orc thief. And his friend, like, the DM is telling the story again, and he's just like, and I told my friend, like, orcs are stupid, man. They aren't thieves. Like, they're very, you know, like, fucking knocking shit over. They're not very stealthy. Like, that's how it works. And he's like, I don't care. I want an orc thief. And then he also put max points into charisma. And basically what he would do is, like, whenever he was trying to be stealthy, he would use intimidate. And he maxed out his intimidate. And so he would be like, whatever the orc's name is, Grog, you don't see Grog. And he'd roll for an intimidation check, and he would always win. And the fucking people that were like the guards would be like, I don't see him. I don't see anything. And Grog would just walk by. I'm just like, that's fucking awesome. Like, you're playing the game properly doing that. Like, it's ridiculous, but you're playing the game properly. Well, they're not. Yeah, I see what you're getting at. Yeah. Well, like, for me, like, if somebody wanted to be a bear, I would tell them, okay, well, he's sentient. And I would give, like, some stupid-ass backstory, like, his brain or his consciousness was transferred into the bear by means of a wizard, and he's hunting the wizard, or something trivial, right? Something stupid that's never going to be remedied. And then that's the end of it. That way we can give him the sentience, but he's still a bear, right? So he still acts like an animal. He doesn't have animal instinct anymore. Like, he's a humanoid, right? So he's a conscious creature, but he's still a bear. So your typical, in my opinion, it would be like your stats are going to be what you'd expect to be for a bear. Like, you're not going to be stealthy. you're not going to evade attacks easily because you're typically going to be on all fours and stuff like that. You're still a bear. And so, like, I would balance it out. Like, my best friend right now, like, he wants me to build this character, and he's like, well, I wanted a drow. And he's like, but I've been above ground, and he's like, so my backstory is that I can see in sunlight. I'm like, okay, so did you lose your dark vision? And he's just like, well, why should I do that? I'm like, because you can fucking see in sunlight. Like, that's how it works. All drow are hurt by sunlight. They take a negative they take negative checks in sunlight, in direct sunlight. Like, if you're in the shade or something, that's a different story. But if you're in the sun, like, you take a check. Like, it's a negative check. Whenever you roll for attack or roll for initiative, roll for anything, you lose points. Like, you lose 1 or 2. Yeah, because they're underground creatures. Yeah. Yeah, but you would still lose dark vision because he's not growing up underground. You know what I mean? And exactly. Yeah, and I even told him, I'm like, dude, you can keep all the drow perks, but if you want to see in the sunlight, you lose your dark vision. That's how that's going to work. Like, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Like, you don't gain both just because you decide to have a backstory that says you should have both. Like, that's not how that works. Like, that's not in my games. Maybe how you want it to work. Sure, Mike. Like, that's fine. Like, but if I'm DMing, that's not how it's gonna work. Okay.
Beyond this is the Emperor's castle.
You asked for it!
Welcome. What'll it be?
Oh yeah, can only hope. Well, like, another thing, like, my buddy is, his first character that he wanted to play.
Anything
but
else?
I ended up shooting him down. Again, because he's constantly trying to find loopholes
Anything
to
else?
make himself stronger than
Come
he
again.
should be at level 1. And so, like, he was like, well, we need a tank. And I'm like, okay, so you're going to be like a paladin, warrior, something heavy armor. Or evade, like, so you're going to be a monk. Or something like that. Like, what are you going to be? And he's like, well, he never told me a race, but what he wanted, his backstory was like, yeah, so he's like, everybody's agreed on this. He's like, I just needed to ask you. My backstory is going to have, what the hell did he say? His entire adventuring party prior to this one died inside of a lich's den, right? And a cursed idol that is like a panther, that's like an ethereal creature follows him around and works with him and does his bidding. I'm like, okay, so you are going to control an ethereal creature. Okay, that's fine. What's your class? Like, because you just said you're going to be a tank. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to be I think I'm just going to be like a warrior. And I'm like, okay, how are you going to do the ethereal creature? He's like, well, my backstory just says that I'm cursed. And I'm like, okay, so you want the best of both worlds is basically what's happening right now. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, you will never die because your constitution is going to be incredibly high, and you're going to get 2 attacks per turn just from 2 separate characters. And he's like, no, not 2 separate characters. And I'm like, yes, 2 separate characters. Like, you're going to control the Jaguar as well as your character. That's 2 characters. I'm like, the Jaguar, and he's like, yeah, and I wanted to be able to see what my idol saw. I'm like, oh, okay, so, and you're going to have shared vision. Dude, you're not a caster, like, you can't do that. And he's just like, yeah, but I'm cursed with it. And I'm like, okay, so are you going to take hits to other stats then because you're cursed? Because that's what a curse is. It's not a bonus. He's just like, he's like, well, I don't see why I should have to do that. And I'm like, because you're OP, dude. Like, you're incredibly OP right now. Like, I don't care if everybody else agreed with that. That's not fair to everybody else. And he's like, well, they said it was okay. And I was like, they don't understand. You're talking to people who've never played this game before and asking in these questions.
What's wrong?
And they're saying, well, yeah, I don't care. I'm just like, I know how to play this game, and I'm not going to allow it. Like, that's my game that you're breaking, and I can't allow that.
Now's not the time to lose hope. We discovered this was all Thanatos is doing.
Actually,
but
it's exactly
it looks
what
like
I
you
told
already
him.
knew
Be a
that.
Beastmaster.
We've gotten word that the Emperor wants to call a truce.
There's nothing that's going to be in danger. Or that's going to endanger it, yeah.
It's hard to believe. He says he wants to disband the army and restore the Empire. Should we trust him?
It's going to hold aggro, it's going to do everything it needs to do, and you guys will literally do nothing. It'll be automatically playing the game for you guys. And he was like, and I told him that. I'm like, dude, all right, so what we can do, I was like, if you really want something like that, I was like, here's what I will offer you. And I went through the monster manual and found the stats for an animated object, like the cast of an animated object, right? And so found the stats for that, and I was like, here's what I can offer you. At level 1, the animated object is just a small animated object, a small Jaguar idol that's constantly there, right? And then when you hit level 7 or something, we'll cause it to grow 1 stage. And then when you hit level 15, we'll cause it to grow another stage, and then that's as high as it gets. And he's like, okay. And I sent him a picture of the stats for an animated object from 3.5. I'm like, we can do this. I'm like, I'm okay with this. I don't like it, but I'm still okay with it. And he's like, so it wouldn't be able to just hide? And I was like, no, it would be out all the time. That is an animated object. He's like, would I be able to see through its eyes? I'm like, no, you wouldn't. Because it is an animated object that you did not animate. And he's just like, yeah, but that's not what my backstory says. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what your backstory says, dude. Like, I love you, buddy, but, like, your backstory doesn't mean shit to me. Because your backstory is supposed to go through me first. Of all the people. Exactly. And I'm like, and I told him, I'm like, if everybody has something crazy in their backstory that they want to add to their character, then I assume that to be fair. You guys can have it. But right now, you're the only freaking person who wants it. Everybody else is building, like, your standard cleric and paladin and wizard. Like the typical classes. I'm just like, you're the only one wanting bits and pieces from all of the classes. I was like, if you want multiple classes, go frickin' multi-class as a human and be done with it. Like, make it easier on me. Well, yeah, exactly.
Chrissy won't listen to anything the Emperor says since she lost Sog. Finally, we've managed to make the Emperor change his mind.
It's what this resistance movement has been working for so long. Should we go?
Okay, we'll go. Come with us. This is it.
I told him,
again,
like,
and there'll be no need to worry about
like
the
the biggest thing for
anymore.
me is that he's my best friend, and so I will call him out. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, he calls me out all the time. Like, we've known each other for so long that I'm just like, I don't give a shit, dude. Like, I don't care who you are. You're my family. Like, I don't give a shit what these people are doing. Apparently he's played a lot more than I assumed he did. I'm like, but I've DM'd for 4 years. Like, through multiple campaigns with multiple players of different levels and experiences and interests and stuff like that. And I'm extremely accommodating as long as they are accepting of what I deem fair. Right? And I talk to people about it. Like, I'll tell you, like, if you were building your character, like I just said with Mike, like, I gave him another option that I felt was fair and it made sense to the game. And so I'm like, look, dude, like, you can't have a summoned creature because you cannot summon. Like, you're not a summoner, you're a warrior, right? Like, that's not your class. And he's like, but I didn't do that, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, well, let me see if I can figure out a different way to get you your creature that I feel is fair. I'm like, and then we can go from there. And I ended up telling him, I'm like, okay, so how about this? We have the animated object, you do your thing, it will typically listen to you. I'm like, but if something else, if I need it, I'm like, I'm going to control it to try to direct you guys in the right way and give you guidance and do stuff like that if you guys feel lost or something like that. That way we can keep it within the game and it's not me pulling you guys out saying, hey, do this. And that way we can continue the flow of the game. And I typically do that. Like in my previous games, my normal character that I have with people is a Zodar, which is just a suit of armor filled with muscle. It is incredibly strong. It can punch a hole through you, and it is insanely fast because it's pure muscle, right? It has no intellect, no wisdom. It's just autonomous. Nobody knows how it functions or how it thinks, but it does. And it has one ability, and this is why I picked the Zodar. It has the ability to wish once a year. So I can wish for anything. So if somebody dies because of some crazy shit happening, I can wish as the Zodar that person back alive. So we don't have to worry about having a death in the party and then we're good. It's my fallback, right? The Zodar doesn't help. He typically just kind of does his own shit, but it's there in case they need him, right? So if something happens, somebody's about to die, he can interrupt it. And it stays in the game. And so I told Mike, I was like, look, you know, this inanimated object will be typically your pet, and it'll follow you around. It'll be able to try to convey information to you or something like that. I'm like, but it's not going to be instant. Like, we're going to have to roll for checks and stuff like that because that's what's fair. And I even told him, I'm like, here, this is sensible. This is what we can do that makes sense with your character. It's not overpowered early on. I was like, and as we level up, it can become stronger so we can face harder enemies earlier on. I'm okay with that. But at level 1 through 5, like, don't expect me to just give you stuff because that's not the point of level 1 through 5. Like, you need to learn how to play the damn game at level 1 to 5. And learn how to play your character properly, how you built your character, and if you're not happy with your character, that's the time to change your character. And I've told the entire party, like, if you want to change the character, I'm 100% okay with it, as long as it is under level 5. And they're like, okay, why under level 5? I'm like, because once you hit level 5, that's when, like, things start ramping up. You start gaining a lot of power. There's a lot of stats that we have to pay attention to, perks, different things like that. Like, there's a lot of additions. And they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And so I told him, like, I will gladly let you, if you start as a rogue, like an elf rogue or halfling rogue for whatever frickin' reason, like, if you start as a halfling rogue and you're like, this is shitty, like, can I swap to a paladin? I'm going to be like, yep, sure, let's build you a quick paladin. You're going to keep your same stat rolls, you're not re-rolling your stats, but you'll keep your experience, you'll keep everything, you just build your paladin. And so... but... That's what I try for, but... There's a lot of... Man, my best friend is terrible about that shit, though. He doesn't shit in everything we do, man. Fucking drives me crazy. I love him so much, but he fucking drives me bonkers.
We'll go on ahead.
Oh my god, I'm all congested. I think I'm gonna set up a D20. Yeah. Because if I can get you in or if they're okay with it, just because, like, I think they wanted, the hell did they? Yeah. Well, like, if we were going to be doing that, though, there's other options that we could take to other avenues, like, the hell's it called, Sword Coast Legends and stuff like that, which is D&D rules, but it's like a top-down, and then there's like a DM mode that the DM can build dungeons and stuff like that, but I still think it's like an active game, so you're just playing the game, so it's not the same thing as pen and paper, so I'll figure it out. Alright, buddy, be good. Sleep well.
Welcome. Now, what'll it be?
Yep. Adios, buddy.
Anything else? Come again.
One night is 120...
What guy?
That guy! You know, the one with the hair and the...
Oh, you mean Gemma?
Yeah, that one! So about Gemma.
You could tell they meant Gemma from that?
Is he really as strong as he looks?
What?
Because, I mean, how strong can he be if he needed to be saved?
Come on, no one's perfect.
All I'm saying is that he sure gives a lot of orders. What's he up?
He's busy with stuff. Lots of stuff. It's just stuff we don't need to know about.
You sure he's not just giving us tasks and then going off to take a nap?
No way! He wouldn't do that.
Stop teasing our brave hero. You know he can't take it. Besides, Gemma is a very brave knight.
You sure? I can't quite put my finger on it.
He saved my life, so at the very least, I know he's a strong warrior. Probably.
Look what you've done. Now he's getting suspicious.